Morning Dish.
He's the hardest working man in show business. His band's music takes you into the midnight hours. And when you wake up, his voice is back on your radio alarm clock. How on earth did this happen?
Well, Jeff saw me taking out the trash at the radio station.
And he won another award.
But this one is better.
I'm your boogeyman. That's what I am.
It's the Morning Dish with the 2019 Radio Personality of the Year winner, Stephen Phillips.
You paying attention to this, Packy?
And Murphy's own Sherry Raines.
Yeah, you must have given horseback passes to the right guy, Stephen.
Well, giddy up.
And Packy Smith's Shetland pony is right alongside.
You guys know these demo tapes don't just edit themselves together, right?
Well, all right.
3 cheers for Stephen Phillips.
Y'all need to help Stephen Phillips out over there. Out the door and off the radio.
Here's Stephen Phillips.
All righty, folks, we're back with you. So excited to have one of my favorite artists of all times on with us, Mr. Matt King. Good morning. How are you, brother?
Good morning. I'm just pumping the coffee in as fast as I can. I hope you're having a good Monday.
Yeah, well, we're doing pretty good. And the thing that here on top of music, man, you get to pump your own coffee into your veins. How cool is that?
Right? I couldn't buy anything strong enough, so I had to start roasting my own.
I'm with you, man. You sent me some of that. It's absolutely great coffee, no doubt about it. And I like mine strong, too, man. I like mine to float a horseshoe, so I like to put an extra spoonful in anyway. But,
right?
Yeah.
Well, I think if you cook it right, it tastes good even when it's strong. And actually, you know what? I can't. When it comes together, I'm excited, but I think we're going to have some of that coffee in the Carolinas very soon available. And next time I talk to you, hopefully I'll be able to tell you all about it.
I'm ready, man. I guarantee you that. Man, I'm gonna tell you something. You know, I'm a music guy. I love music right and left. And your last album, I mean, you had some cool stuff. Shantytown and all that. I love it. American Dreams, another cool tune. I mean, you've just got one right after another. That Eden's Apples, Hell's Kitchen, and you know, it's hard for musicians to keep pushing out good songs to me. You know, every now and then you have to have one that's not no good. But you actually got this new song out, which is, I mean, I've wore it out, Midnight Oil and Holy Water with Wylie Hubbard, man. Tell us about this song, how it come about. And now, did you write this one?
Oh, yeah, it was actually a guy named Jack Williams. We got together with Jack, but I'd had that title for a long time, probably about 2 years, and I said, you know, when I do another record, I'm going to call it Midnight Oil and Holy Water. Right. Because I'm always burning midnight oil, and I'm trying to get things right with God. So we called up Ray and Heidi and I, and Jack sat down one afternoon. It took 4 of us to get it all out. And during the height of quarantine, we FaceTimed with Ray. And, you know, Ray, like he always does, is very self-deprecating. Says, "Oh, I threw some words at it." No, he threw up a mountain of lyrics. It was amazing. Right. And we ended up, he sent me a demo. He was cutting some demos one afternoon in the studio and threw down a vocal on that. And as I was cutting it, I was cutting my demo just to see what we had. I said, "Hey, Ray, why don't we make a record out of this thing? I think I can use the vocal you sent me." And that's exactly what happened with it. And, you know, there was a song Ray and I wrote called Hen House that he put on the Grifters hymnal. Right. So we've got a history of every couple, 3 years, we'll pen one that sticks.
Well, that's a cool tune, man. There is no doubt that's a cool tune. And I can see the Wylie Hubbard. I can see. I mean, I think I can pick out his lyrics, you know, that he throws in there because I've listened to him so much. Of course, you know. We do the Snake Farm thing, but yeah. So you just released this new song. So I'm sure that you got some more coming out. I'm sure, but
well, I'm glad you asked. What I did was, you know, my better half, Heidi Newfield, she played harp on there and she sang, and we wrote this thing. So I just wanted to see what would happen if I just kind of stuck my toe back in the water. Right. So right now, it's not like there's a bunch of publicity and all kinds of people trying to promote it. I literally just put it out online, and I'm just seeing what people think. And I didn't realize that there's 98,000 people on Pandora that are listening every month. Right. So you know how that works online. I'd rather folks like you who are enjoying it at radio get some real ears hearing it, and so far it's been great.
Right.
And I'm going to finish an entire album based off of that concept, off of that first song that we put out. So to answer your question, yes, there's going to be a whole album. Just got to finish it.
Right. Well, just take your time, man. Ain't no rush. Just easy on that. The only thing about Pandora, though, you get like 98,000 plays, and they send you like $8. That's the only thing that bugs me about
At the most.
Yeah.
Yeah, but what I didn't realize was I didn't even know that those people were out there. And I've got a gig in October in Oregon that's a big old festival, and all those people are big fans.
Right.
And if it wouldn't have been for that kind of exposure, they may have never heard the music because, as you know, Rube was not exactly the kind of commercial radio friendly kind of record.
I'm gonna tell you, it's one of my favorites.
Thank you.
Yep.
It took me 10 years to write the songs for that record. So when you say there's no bad songs, yeah, there's for every one good song on that record, there were probably 15 or 20 curs.
I don't know, man. I like them. I really do. It's kind of, and it goes from rock all the way into actually kind of bluesy grass sounding couple of tunes you had there, which is really cool.
Well, that's where my heart lives, is in bluegrass and rock and roll. No, what I mean is for every good song, there's usually about 10 or 20 that aren't so good that don't make it.
Oh, so yeah, I'm with you.
You have to write a lot of bad ones to get to the good ones.
Yeah.
Hey, Matt, it's the other Steve. Thanks for joining us
today.
Hey, Steve. Tell me this. Who influenced you? I've listened to some of your songs here with the other Steve, and it certainly, some of it has that bluegrass kind of sound, certainly a little bit of country, like you said, some rock and roll. Who are your chief influencers from the music world that have kind of helped you get where you are today?
Well, to get where I am, I'm not sure about all of that, but, I started out, the first record I ever heard was, there were 3 records. There was the band. There was Will the Circle Volume 1, and there was Mac Wiseman, who was, I loved Mac. And those guys were like, they kind of were the imprint, the footprint, if you will, in the way I wanted to sing.
Right.
Or not really the way I wanted to sing consciously, but what came out of me, because I grew up in the mountains. And then, I grew up on Zeppelin and Van Halen, and really got into heavy rock when it came to guitars, because there was something about that I liked, and what it was called was girls back then,
right.
When I was a teenager. So the combination of the two, kind of those two worlds, I really loved great guitar players, and a lot of them were like, not just the typical Claptons, but there was Jimmy Page, and then there was really more heavier influencers in rock and roll. And what happened was, as I got into Nashville, I got hired as a demo singer because I loved Ricky Skaggs, Randy Travis, and Keith Whitley.
Oh, yeah.
And I wanted to sing just like Keith and Randy. And so I would make trips from North Carolina to Nashville, back and forth, and I would literally just sit and memorize and try to do every single one of those songs just like those guys. And so when I got a deal, that's kind of the way I defaulted to, is singing like that. And it took me making a few records before I found my own real voice, because I think the first couple that I put out, I was trying to sound like I thought a country singer was supposed to sound.
Right.
I hadn't really found my own voice. And by the time I got to Rube, I think I had found somewhere between pen, guitar, and vocals, I'd found a way to marry all those things together.
Yeah,
does that make any sense?
Yes, it makes perfect sense. Yeah. I actually, in a related kind of thing, my daughter, she wants to be a novelist. And we were talking about this the other day, and they say that when you start out writing novels, that you imitate the writing of your favorite novelists. Right. You have their voice until you find your own. So it's precisely what you're saying.
It's funny you should say that, because truthfully, what happened for me with Rube was there was one musician, there was Tom Waits, I had discovered later in life.
Right.
And I loved Tom because he kind of just was so out there, but he had this whole lingo of the 20s. And then there was Rick Bragg, who wrote All Over But the Shoutin' and Ava's Man. And Rick was my favorite, period. He spoke about the South in a way that had so much respect and reverence for his mother and the way he grew up in southern Appalachia, right, that I just was addicted to it. And Rick and I are sort of pen pals. In fact, he he emailed me one time and told me that he had Rube in his record collection beside Miles Davis, and that he and his boy drove down the road listening to it. I jumped out barefooted on a Texas day that was 105 degrees and ran a circle around the Home Depot in my bare feet when I got that.
I mean, that's cool, man. There's no doubt.
Well, he's one of my he was one of my heroes. So good luck to your daughter, because those are what is it? True artistry is actually thievery. You're just borrowing and making it your own.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's the thing. I think after you come into your own, then you find out that there actually is a big following that likes your stuff instead of kind of following somebody else, and you come to your own. That's just like one of the songs that I like is the Graveyard Shift. I just think that is a cool tune, man. It's just got a good
Thank
beat
you so
to
much.
it, and but then I guess one of the things about your music that I enjoy so much is that you can go from rock, and you'll be listening to something you like Shantytown, which is a cool little rock hit, and then you go into this cool groove like with the Graveyard Shift and this, that, and the other as far as the playlist goes. And you covered.
Thank you.
Yep, you covered. And plus you've got the coffee, man.
Well, caffeinated music. I couldn't drink whiskey anymore. I was too much in my bloodline there, so I had to find something. I actually used to go to this coffee shop, and this guy was a roaster, and I'd hang out with him, and I'd write songs at this coffee house, and that's kind of where I wrote almost all of Rube, was at a coffee house in Nashville. But yeah, I'm pretty much a product of the mountains.
Well, I mean, Hendersonville, right? I mean,
yeah, that's where I grew up, is Henderson County, and then I terrorized all parts of Carolina growing up.
Yeah. I used to live over in Asheville, actually up in Weaverville, so kind of the opposite side of that area.
Oh,
you know Weaverville, you
country.
just come straight up through town on the north side of Asheville.
Yeah, he knows Weaverville. That's where all the weirdos live.
That's exactly right. That's why I was there. But yeah, I spent some good time down in Hendersonville, too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Yeah.
And I actually did some guitar lessons there in Asheville. And so my son now, 11 years old, it's funny what you said about the girls. He's 11 years old. It's a rule in my household that you must learn an instrument. So my daughter I was talking about, she plays the trumpet, she sings in choir. My son, he refuses to be in band. I'm like, all right, well, here's the deal. You have to either learn the guitar or the piano, and I'll take lessons with either one. Whichever one you pick, I'll take lessons with you. So he picked the guitar. I said, son, I'm like, son, you need to understand something. You're 11 years old. By the time you're a senior in high school, you're going to be awesome, and you're going to have girls all over you. He's like, okay, Dad. Yeah. So it's what you just said, Matt.
Well, that's great, and good on you for doing that, man. I'm telling you what, if you have parents that are supportive like that, there's no telling where they can go with it.
Yep.
I have a nephew who was this sweet little. My sister homeschooled 5 kids in the mountains.
Oh, bless her heart.
His name is Jordan Hutchinson, and Jordan was just trying to figure out, do I want to be a guitar player, and all this stuff. And he started lifting weights about, 6-7 years ago. Last weekend, he went to Phoenix, Arizona to try to get into the pros. He won the title of Mr. USA.
Oh, wow.
My
Awesome.
25-year-old nephew last weekend.
That is cool.
And he was just, a mountain boy. So there's, people from where we were at sometimes think I'm stuck, because, when you grow up in the mountains, sometimes you think you're going to stay and you can do anything you want from anywhere you want.
Right.
Because he lives right there in the mountains and he just won that title. I'm very encouraged when I didn't have a lot to work with. I just had my little bag of tricks.
Right.
But I knew I wanted to try something. Now, I sure wish I lived in North Carolina, but other than that, I'm excited for people when they have dreams. I'm a big fan of dreaming.
Yep, I'm with you on that, and it takes hard work. That's one of the things that a lot of folks don't realize. Just like you're talking about your nephew, worked out for 10 years. It's not an easy task, and it's something to be proud of. And so, anyway.
No, but working hard has always been a part of. What else we got to do? That's part of that's the factory that comes with the deal.
Matt, tell everybody where they can get up with you. We have got to get to a break, and like I said, just mattking.com. We got tons of new stuff over there. I'll start putting dates on, and that's the easiest way to find me on all the socials. So, Matt at mattking.com. It's not just a novel name; it's my website. That's good enough. Matt, I do appreciate you, man, and we're going to continue supporting you. Folks, y'all go check this out. Download his music. He needs the money. Trust me, he's a musician. They need the money.
All right. Well, it's so good I appreciate you having these both you guys, Steve. Steve, it's good talking to you.
Great talking to you, Matt. Thanks so much.
Absolutely. Adios.
Thank you for spending a little time with us. And remember, you can tune in every morning at WJULradio.com at 8 a.m. Eastern. And please subscribe to our YouTube channel and like us on Facebook, The Morning Dish.